and press. Welcome to part 3 of Mastering Yourself. My name is Nikki Sutherland, Money and Mindset Mentor, and it's an honor and a privilege to serve you guys today. So we were talking about Mr. Ivan Tapia's strategy of mastering yourself, and he had 5 tips. And we started on 1, and we haven't been able to pass that 1 so far. And hopefully we're going to get through all 5, because I think number 1 was the most important when it comes to being able to really break through the first level of success. And those of you that were here last week and the week before, you know that number 1 was around mastering your emotions. So the first thing that we have to do in order to master ourselves, okay, is master our emotions. And a lot of that was about who we're listening to, okay? Mastering your skills, mastering your mind, not worrying about what other people say, looking at the activities and the skills that you have to do on a daily basis to get to where it is that you want to go. And we also discussed that sometimes leaders use their enemies to help them grow. So in other words, when you're told that you can't do something, it could potentially stir you on. You see, successful people allow that to fuel them. Unsuccessful people allow it to break them, right? We spoke about how sticks and stones may hurt our bones, but words never hurt us was a lie. Words do hurt us. Word is seed. And we realized that the words are actually seed for our food for our brains. And we have to be very careful what words we allow to sow into our brains, because they indeed reap a harvest. And we spoke a lot about if we didn't find a way to manage our minds, the enemy will take us down. The enemy will lead us in a road that we don't want to go to. The enemy will have us doing things that we shouldn't be doing. The enemy will have us speaking in a way we shouldn't be speaking. The enemy will have us giving up on our goals, giving up on our dreams, and walking down the road of disaster, walking down the road of destruction, and staying in a place where we're not happy with. And sometimes the enemy can be people, but sometimes the enemy are the thoughts in our minds. Sometimes the enemy is the music we're listening to. Sometimes the enemy are the people we're hanging around. Sometimes the enemy is just the environments that we're in. And we realized that in order to master our emotions, we really had to get a grip of that. And then we're looking at number 2 now, which is mastering the ability to reason. You know, this is a very important one. And I shared my testimony last week about how when I was, first in the bank at 18 years old, I had no idea how to reason. You know, as a cashier at 18, I wanted to fight the customers when they were a bit rude. And that isn't the right way to do things. And I think sometimes we don't realize that we have to learn and master the way that we reason. Sometimes people don't get it first time. Sometimes people have different opinions to us. Sometimes people have different ideas to us, right? And not everyone will get it like you. How many of you have decided that you're going to start a new venture? You've decided to launch your business. You've decided you're going to do something you've never done before. Not everyone will understand your way of thinking. And you can get upset with people for not having the same passion as you, for not seeing the things that you have, seeing the things that you want in the same way that you do. Or you can decide to understand that everyone understands things differently. Not everyone's going to understand your point of view. But this doesn't mean that you don't have high standards. It doesn't mean that you don't have expectations, but it means that you have to be patient with people. It means that you have to be patient when it comes to working alongside people and communicating with people. How many of you know sometimes you can have a best friend or a spouse and you have a difference of opinion, right? There has to be a way to learn how to reason, right? We've got to know how to reason. You know, I remember one time growing up, I could never have a conversation, with my mom. It was always like, children must be seen and not heard. There was no reasoning. It was like, shut up, you're a child and you listen to what I say because I'm your mom and you have no, and so I don't know if any of you have grown up like that, but then you grow up like that. So you have a paradigm shift or a paradigm kind of set that reasoning is not allowed. And so when we get older, when we are in a position where we can reason, we almost don't, because we've been we've been stuck in this paradigm of it's rude to say how I feel. So instead of having communication, instead of learning the art to reason, we run away. Instead of learning to have a conversation and say, hey, I'm not happy with this, or hey, this is not what I intended, or hey, I want to do something different, or hey, I'm going through. Instead of having conversations, what we do is we go ghost, we disappear, we run, we hide, or we do the opposite, get confrontational, get angry. And the art of mastering reasoning, understanding how to communicate correctly. This is not just in business, guys. This is in relationships. This is in friendships. A lot of friendships and relationships fall apart because of a lack of communication, a lack of understanding, a lack of hearing other people's point of view. And it's okay to hear somebody's point of view and not agree. As a mentor, I can tell you this, I've seen so many people not fulfill their potential, and they give excuses. And normally what they say is, I've got a lot going on. That's my number one thing that I hear. There's so much going on, Nikki. So much I've got so much going on. And I hear it often. And I've never turned around to that person and say, no, you don't. Because that would not be, that's not going to get them to understand that they have more than enough time to do what it is that they do. And so I've learned over the years to say, I hear you. I understand exactly how you feel, because I've been there before. But you know what I've found? We always have time. You know what I've found? We make time for the things that we find important. You know what I've found? That when your pain of your current situation supersedes your pain and your uncomfortableness of doing what's required for change, you pretty much find the time. How many of you corporate bodies will know the feel, felt, found strategy? It works. It's called empathy. Empathy isn't agreement. Empathy is just saying, I understand from your point of view. I understand why you think like that. But you can't take people from week 1 and put them in your week 52. And so knowing how to reason is very important. And before you can manage other people, because I know a lot of you on here are leaders, before you can manage other people, you have to learn to manage yourself. You have to learn to master that ability of reasoning, communication. One of my biggest bugbears in business is people make commitments, or they say they're going to do something, and when things get tough, they run. And they don't communicate. They don't have conversations. You just see they've left the group. You just see they stop responding to your calls. You just see they go ghost. You just see, I don't know, cancellation in the subscription. Like these days, there's no communication. And it's crazy, because if you're in your marriage, it would be absurd to just pack up your bags one day, not have a communication, and just leave. And some people do that. You've got a family member right now that was in a relationship, thought they were in a relationship, had a whole baby, and overnight, blocked, deleted, person's moved house, no idea where they're gone. Overnight. And I'm like, we're in a world right now where social media gives people strength to be disrespectful. And I think that the people that are the most successful are the ones that learn to have challenging and hard conversations in a way that is professional enough, where 2 people can have a disagreement, 2 people can have a conversation, and it's still respectful and edifying. I think that's a skill set that successful people possess. Does it mean they don't have standards? Does it mean they bend for everything? No, it doesn't. But it means we can have a conversation, even if we disagree, in a respectful manner. 777s, if you understand what I'm talking about. Maybe you're starting a business. How many of you have ever started a business and you sharing your business and your best friend who you thought will be down for you isn't down for you? Your favorite auntie who you thought, yeah, they're definitely going to buy something from me. They didn't buy nothing from you. Or your spouse who you thought, listen, this is the person I live with. They're definitely going to back me, and they don't. But you've got to have an internal conviction that doesn't allow other people's reasoning to bring you down a road that you have no business going. And this is why it's so important to be confident when you hear a word from God, when you hear that God has instructed you to move. You know what makes me laugh? When I hear someone say, oh my God, Nikki, God has told me, I've heard it from God. I had a sign. God told me to do this. And then a week later, when they find out it's a little bit hard, they come back again. God told me to quit. No, God did not tell you to quit. God didn't tell you to quit. The God that I know, I don't know what God that is. And we got to be careful. We got to be careful, because the God that I serve does not possess the spirit of confusion. Just because it's hard, just because it's going to take a different muscle, just listen, the higher the level is the more commitment, dedication, the more intentional you have to be. You can't think that you're going to go to a new level and expect it to be easy. In fact, I'd even reverse engineer that and say the reason why you're at the level you're at is because you're in a comfort zone where you can handle those stresses. You can handle those things. In order for you to get to a new level, it's got to be a higher stress. It's got to be a higher level of pressure. You don't learn in the good times. Let me tell somebody that. You don't learn in the good times. Let me break it down for you. Don't tell me you're strong until you can give me an example where you could have been weak, but you showed strength. Don't tell me that you're an overcomer, but you ain't overcome none. I remember when I applied for a university at 18, I wanted to be a counselor. And they told me that the counseling course, you have to be 21. And I was like, no, I'm 18, I'm ready. And you know what they told me? You don't have any life experience. You have to have some experience before you can come onto this course. This specific course, you have to be 21. No matter how mature I felt like I was, I hadn't experienced enough life for them to accept me onto that course, to be able to start advising people, right? To counseling people about life when I haven't actually lived life. And I was upset. I was like, no, but I'm mature. I've been through stuff. I've had a boyfriend. He left me. I've taken him back twice. I've been through some things. Like, no, you haven't. But it's years later that I realized that there's a lot of us that think we're qualified, but we've got to grow to the next level. You don't go to the next level, you grow to the next level. So we've got to be careful also what we pray for. How many of you have prayed to God for more money? Or pray to God for a promotion? Or pray to God for increase? Or pray to God for more people to come into your business? Pray to God for more signups? Pray to God for expansion? Well, when you're praying for expansion, do you know what comes with expansion? Do you know what comes? When you pray for more people to come, you're actually exposing yourself to more complaints. You're exposing yourself to more trouble, right? There's always, remember, we have just like a battery. We have a positive and a negative to everything. It's an equilibrium. You cannot have one without the other. You can't have more money, right, without more tax. Trust me. You can't have a bigger house without bigger energy bills. You can't have a bigger car without having to put more diesel or whatever it is in the every positive thing in your life, there is a so-called negative that's attached to it. If you want more money, you have to be able to have a muscle to handle more pressure, handle more tests, be able to have a muscle of resilience. And I heard my mentor say this the other day, and I think it's so true. These days we are weak. These days we're so sensitive. These days we're quick to fold. And one of my prayers is I'm like, Lord, send me some warriors. Send me some people that don't quit. I heard Kobe say in that clip before, like, he was like, when he was in pain and he literally could have given up. He said to himself, this is what quitters do. Quitters give up. I definitely don't want to follow the traits of a quitter. How do you motivate yourself when you're ready to fold? When you're ready to throw in the towel? When you promised yourself you were going to get up 5 a.m. every morning. You promised yourself you were going to lose weight. When you're putting that cake in your mouth, do you say to yourself, this is what losers do? Let me put this Jamaican ginger cake down and the rum and raisin ice cream down, because losers would submit to this ice cream, right? When you've set to yourself a goal and it gets tough and the temptations come, how do you speak to yourself? Or do you just roll over? Oh, I said I was going to make 5 calls to my business, but I'll do it tomorrow. I said I was going to do this. How do you have self-control? Do you have what's the word, where you can self-evaluate and hold yourself accountable? How do you reason with yourself? Or do you give yourself a blight? Guys, we all got to work on something. There's something every single one of us have to work on. But here's the thing. Every successful person that I have studied have self-control. They've learned the art to reason. They don't allow people to negatively sway them away from what it is they're supposed to do. They don't get got, in other words. How many of you have got before? Any of you got? You know what I'm talking about. Remember school days where you used to have people like, oh, you're going to have that. Oh, don't have it. Don't have it. Who remembers that? You remember them days? And just because you don't want to be left out, like, yeah, I'm not going to have it. Next thing, you find yourself in a fight. Next thing, you're in trouble. And the people that were saying, oh, you're going to have it, egging you on behind the closed doors, they're sitting there all happy whilst you're the one got yourself in a fight, got yourself suspended, and now you're the one in trouble getting beat by your mom. Right? Your parents are telling you, listen, I'm going to send you back to Jamaica. One more trouble from the school, and you're getting shipped right back to Jamaica or Nigeria or Ghana or wherever you come from in this school. You're getting shipped back to your country because your parents don't want any more shame on their necks. Come on now. But you got. Was it peer pressure? Was it the hype of the moment? Now, so you guys are laughing, but how many of you get got in business as an adult now? How many of you, when someone says, oh, I've been in one of them businesses before, I wouldn't do that if I was you, and you get got? You let them twist your mind. Ashley said, I got tumped. You got tumped at home, Ashley? Oh, boy. Listen, we had a special belt at home. It was called a crocodile belt. It was made of crocodile skin, right? And my mum used to say, go get the crocodile belt. You have to go and get your own weapon, right? We couldn't play. Don't you dare do that. So you got to train your mind to understand the same way. You know, the word says when you're a child, you do things as a child. But when you're no longer a child, this is emotional intelligence. We've got to realize when people's word don't align with the vision, crop failure. In one ear, out the other. You know my favorite line, guys? Let me teach you something. This is emotional intelligence. This is how to reason with those types of people. Okay? Here's what you do. Go, oh my God, really? Okay. Do you know what? Give me a minute. I'm gonna call you back. That's how you do it. They say if you argue with a clown, you become part of the circus. And I'm not part of the circus. I don't want to be a clown, guys. But I see a lot of people, they fail in this area. They allow negativity to get them. Their own negative thoughts, their own negative mind. They lose all form of reasoning. You know, when I'm doing the trading calls with those of you that are part of the trading, and we talk about, does it make sense to risk all your account money on one trade? And we all say, no, that's suicidal. It's crazy. If you have £100, would you put the whole 100 on a trade? No, because if that trade loses, then guess what happens? You've blown your account. You've lost money. Well, it's the same principle here. Would you ride your whole entire future your business, your relationship based on a word on somebody else. And let me tell you this as well. The most of the time, the people who are saying these negative things, including ourselves, are broke. I've never seen somebody who's making money hate on somebody else's business. It's always broke people telling people how to run a business. And I said this to, I can't remember who I was speaking to the other day. And I was like, can you imagine if someone who weighed over 500 pounds rang you to tell you how to lose weight? Would you take advice from them? Like, because this is the world that we're living in. You start a business and your spouse who's broke, and they're broke with you, they tell you, oh, I don't think you should do it. Your cousin and them from the chicken shop, they hang out at Morley's every weekend. They're telling you shouldn't do it, right? You've got a friend around the road. They're the brokest one in your circle. And they're the ones you're going to for monetary and business advice. And then they get you. And they get you good, because now you lose your confidence. The zeal that you had, the energy, the excitement that you had for your newfound business, the excitement that you had, all of a sudden now is diminishing because they got you. And I want to tell you guys this: don't get got. Don't let a no that's really not right now make you mash up your business. I saw this movie, and I can't remember what the name of the movie is. Yes, I can, but I'm not going to tell you the name. And in the movie, you guys can type it in the chat. In the movie, the girl told her sisters about her marriage. And the sisters encouraged her to mash up her marriage. And when she mashed up her marriage, then the reason why the marriage was mashed is because the guy was so focused on his goal. He had a goal that he was going to be, right, this engineer, and he had this power battery that he was going to create. And he had this idea from school, college, uni, and he could only see tunnel vision. He didn't see a job. He didn't see work. He only saw this battery, and she married him on the belief that he was going to get the battery and it was going to make them millionaires. And she was believing and believing and believing and believing. And then she told her sisters, and they were like, yo, this guy needs to get a job. You need to stop believing in your husband. You need to stop. You've been believing in him since school days. It's 20 years now. You're still believing. You guys are going broke. Stop believing in him. And guess what? She left her husband. She left him. I'm telling you guys a story, but I have to prove the point, right? Guess what happens? As soon as she leaves, man, he meets a woman, and guess what? She reaped all the benefits when the battery hit the jackpot and he got X amount of mil. Right? Why? Stop listening to broke people. Stop listening to people that don't have the results that you desire. Doesn't mean they're not good people. Right? It doesn't mean they're not good people. It doesn't mean they don't even wish you well. Some people are just concerned. When I met my husband, one of my best friends was like, no, I don't think you should marry him. It's too soon. You know, I know you had a past relationship that was really bad. I don't want you to rush into things. I said, no, God has told me to marry this man. I'm marrying this man. She said, look, if you marry him, our friendship is over. I was like, cool, I'm marrying him. She meant well, but I can't listen to someone who's never been married, who isn't in a marriage, about understanding when God has called someone into your life. 7 years later, I'm married. They're still not married. Moral of the story is, make sure you vet the advice that you're taking from people. Make sure you're really understanding what it is that you're reasoning with, because some people, there's no reasoning with them, guys. Some of us, we've got this validation situation. We want people to say, yeah, good job. You're doing amazing. But it doesn't always come, and we've got to be okay with that. We've got to be okay with knowing that when God has called us to something, that we're convicted enough to do it. Number 3, guys. And before I get into number 3, I'll tell you this. You have to keep going. And I want you to write this down. I must keep going. I cannot quit. So you ring someone, you got a product or a service you're selling, and you ring someone and someone says no. It's just like when we was running the restaurant in London and someone will come in, ask for a patty. And we say, would you like a drink with that? They'd say no. Am I going to close the restaurant because they said no, they don't want a drink? No. When the next customer comes, would you like a drink? That customer says, oh no, I don't want a drink. The third customer, would you like a drink? Guess what? They say, oh yeah, actually, I'd like a drink. Am I losing anything by asking every single customer who orders a patty if they want a drink? No. I must keep asking, because if I allow the no's, by the way, those no's were not personal to me. They just didn't want the drink. But if I allow the fact that I had 2 no's who didn't want the drink make me stop asking the third and fourth if they want the drink, I'm not going to make as much money in my restaurant as I should. And there's going to be some people that leave thirsty and be like, oh my God, I forgot to get a drink. So you have to be consistent and persistent with what it is that you're doing. I can't be bothered about the no's. Sometimes people have other issues and they project it on you. And let me tell you this, if they projected an issue on you that you're insecure in yourself, that's why it gets you. You can't get got over something that you don't feel convicted about. You only get got when there's something that they've niggled at a piece of you that touches a spot. If I went to Mr. Gary Dixon right now and I said, Gary, that jumper you're wearing is bright pink. Gary's like, no, it ain't, it's blue. And I'm like, Gary, are you dumb? It's pink, bro. Like the jumper's pink. Is he gonna cry? Is he gonna go away like, oh my God, he knows it's blue. He doesn't have to sit there arguing. He even may even think I'm crazy. He'd be like, have you lost it? Is there something wrong with you? What do you mean? He's not going to be insecure. He's not going to go to Miss Andrea and be like, Andrea, is it pink or is it blue? He knows it's blue. He doesn't need to verify with anybody else whether it's blue. He knows for himself it's blue. Doesn't matter what I tell him, if it's pink, orange, or purple, he knows that jumper is blue. There's no amount of confusion that's going to get him in his mind thinking that that jumper is anything other than blue. But you see, when you're unsure about something, that's when they get you. So maybe they say, oh, didn't you start something before and not do it? They remind you. Let me tell you what the enemy does. They'll remind you of your past. They'll bring up your past. You see, let me tell you this. Some of your friends, they're right. They're judging you on the old you. So they know the broke you. They know the you that's always busy. They know the you that used to say, I can't afford to go here because I don't have any money. They'll know the you that works at McDonald's. They know the you that works part-time in Primark. They are judging you by the old you, whereas you are focused on the future you. You can't have conversations with people that keep reminding you of your past. It's so important to live for your future. Understand the future you. Right? Number 3, let's move on. I think we're going to get through them today. Very important trait that you got to have in life, in business, is mastering building the right team. I can't tell you how important this is. One of the things that I used to do, which I realized isn't necessarily right, is looking for people exactly like me or with the same traits as me. Let me tell you this about a team, right? You need different people doing different things. Everyone is different, right? Everyone is different. Some people, like me, high intense, right? I never want to relax on my goals. I'm focused. I've got big goals. I'm moving constantly, right? I'm constantly moving. I've got calls. I've got appointments. I've got meetings. I'm planning events. I'm on the go because I know I have a big goal. I can't expect everyone to be on that intensity. I can't judge people for not being on that intensity. I cannot think that, oh my God, I have to understand that everyone is also different to me. right? I can't expect the same level from every single person. But here's one thing that Ivan Tapia said that hit me. And I feel like I'm starting to learn this very well. And it is to become a chameleon, right? So you know the different colors. Some people are red. Red is the high intense, and I'm a little bit of, I can be all when I'm ready. So you got the high intense, which is like focus, goals, numbers, events, never call in sick, never quit, never run away from things, always on it, right? The high intense people that want to know the numbers, they're focused, they're attacking their goals and their business, right? Focus. You don't have to tell them to believe. You don't have to tell them to do an event. You don't have to tell them to write their list. You don't have to tell them to get going. You don't have to tell them to work out how much money they're going to make this month, how much money they already figured it out. In fact, if they don't know the number, they're coming to you and they're like, Nikki, what's the next move? What's going on? You don't need to find out from a red, because a red is going to be doing it even before you've even finished the sentence. I was speaking to somebody on the call the other day, and even before I finished giving the instruction, they'd already sent out the message. I was like, yeah, you're a red. I could tell. Just like, tell me the number. Tell me the number, Nikki. Let me go get it done. I've already written my list. I didn't even say write a list. I've already written my list. Red. I can tell. Yeah, red. Right? Then you have the greens. The greens, analytical. That's why you got to know your numbers. So the greens are going to say, well, what's in that product? How long has it been out? Reds ain't asking that. Reds like, how much can I sell it for and how much money can I make? The greens are asking, what farm was the coffee beans produced? Who's the farmer, right? What licensing is there, right? The greens are going to ask, what time? How much does it cost, right? The greens is going to plan, those of you coming to Atlanta, the greens are going to plan Atlanta 3 months in advance. They're already packing. The greens have worked out what they're wearing, right? The greens are strategizing. They're knowing the numbers. They want to do all the things. They're doing the research. They're on Google. When you hear a green, sometimes you guys can get a bit annoyed. Like, why are they asking so many questions? They're just a green. They're just information prone. They like information, right? And then you have the yellows. Yellows, I can be a yellow when I'm ready. Fun, right? Yellows want to go on the retreats. Yellows want to come bowling. Yellows want to come to the events. Yellows want to be taking the videos. Yellows are posting on social media. Yellows are fun people. Hey, when do we get together? Like Danielle rang me today. She was like, hey, can we do this? I was like, go for it, right? You have the, oh, guys, let's go have a party, right? The yellows are the ones already getting their 90s outfit ready for Atlanta. The yellows want to have fun. And yellows will figure out a way how to have fun, right? How do we make this fun? Yellows will be the ones putting the music on the calls and dancing and vibing and, right? Yellows want to have fun. And you got the blues. The blues want to save the world. The blues want to help people, right? The blues want to be like, oh, who are we leaving behind? The blues are going to call someone and be like, hey, is everything okay? I've not seen you on the calls lately, right? The blues are going to be like, oh, you coming to the event? The blues are going to be like, hey, let's do something as a team, right? They're all different types of energy, all different types of, and guess what? We need everyone. Because whilst the reds are focused on the goal, the reds are not picking up that someone's upset over there. The reds just focus, grinding, grinding, grinding. They're not picking up that such and such as, had a situation, because they're like, listen, Mamba mentality, no matter what, the goal's got to get done. And sometimes the reds can be seen as like they're cutthroat because they're so focused, they don't want to hear no excuses. But the blues are like, I remember we used to have another company, and this is why me and Auntie Anne used to work so well together, because Auntie Anne's a blue, right? And so me as a red, Auntie Anne is a blue. And we did this business so beautifully, because whilst I'm going, and I'm like, Auntie Anne, what's going on? She's like, oh, I'm just popping around to such and such. They had a little issue. I'm going to go and help them. I'm like, okay, Auntie Anne, you do that part. And she used to just, she would catch up for me where I felt short, right? So you need everybody, but you need to understand. So now I'm learning to be a chameleon, because you got to be able to do all. You got to be able to move in a way where when you meet someone who's a red, you can be the red version of you. Right? Because guess what? Let's say, for example, you are a blue and you're naturally nurturing and you're naturally, lovey-lovey and oh, kumbaya and let's pray together. And you meet a red, and a red wants to come into the business, and you're like, hey, we have team meetings and we all talk, and the red's like, bro, I don't hear none of that. Tell me the money. How much money do you got to know how to speak to different colors and you got to be able to pick it up quickly. People are different. Everyone's different. You cannot expect, but here's one thing that is a zero tolerance for me. If they're against the vision, I can't work with them. We got to all be running on one accord. We got to all be focused on a vision of success, positivity. I don't care how different we are, but if you're negative, we can't be around each other, because I've got to build with the right team. How many of you listen to that audio, good to great? If you haven't, it's very high level. It's not for everybody. Some people will listen to the first 10 minutes and switch off because it's very high level, from good to great. But this audio is one of the most powerful audios Dr. David Imonitie ever gave to me when it comes to launching a business and understanding business. And here's what Jim Collins said on that audio. He said, whenever you're starting a new vision, whenever you're building for a vision, there's things that you have to do. The first thing you have to do, right, when it comes to building a team, is get the wrong people off the bus. He said, get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off the bus, and make sure everyone's sitting in the right seats, right? Now, there's some people that, like Auntie Anne, was behind the scenes. It didn't mean she was less worthy than, say, we had Amina Michelle doing the mindset calls in the morning, like how Danielle does it. Just because Auntie Anne was seeing people and talking one-on-one behind the scenes doesn't mean she's more important or more interesting than someone who's face-to-face, who's more of a red or a yellow. Everyone plays their part. So he said, get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off the bus, and make sure everyone is sitting in the right seats. I tell you this, if you're on a plane, right, because I hear, and the blues will say, yeah, but can't we all just get along? Can't we all just, can't we all just, take it in turns, right? Because I heard someone say, well, isn't it fair that why does she do the mindset calls and I don't get to be up front? Can't we rotate it? But here's the thing, guys. If you was on a plane, and you were going to Jamaica, 8-hour flight from the UK, and the air hostess was like, hey, just to make it fair, the pilot has decided that I'm going to fly the plane today, and the pilot's going to be the air hostess. How many of you would feel satisfied about being on that plane? It's not about fair. It's about who's qualified, right? I need us to understand this. It's not about fair, it's about who's qualified. And a great leader understands how to identify leaders and identify positions that people can play, right? It's not about fair. You say, oh, Nikki, well, they just came in and they're already doing that. It's not about fair. It's about who's qualified, right? So you've got to master building the right team. In fact, if you're starting a business, you're the number one person that believes in that more than anybody else. No one's going to believe in your business more than you. So you can't expect people to believe in it more than you. So when you meet people or when you're speaking to people, the first thing you got to do is earn their trust. How do you earn people's trust? Is by being who it is that you say that you are, by being consistent, by doing things that you say, right? How many of you on this call, especially those of you that are single, when you meet somebody for the first time, right, you're in that getting to know you phase, and they say, oh, call you later. And if they don't call later, you're like, oh, you see? Yeah. They're not a person of their word. You already know, red flag. That's a red flag. You didn't say you call me later. Don't say you call me later. I'll call you when I get home, and you don't call. That's are you somebody who does what you say you're going to do? How do you build trust with people? Because people want to be a part of a team with people that are trustworthy, people that are committed, consistent, people that are real. How many of you see people on Instagram and they're fake? You know they don't live the life that they portray online. Come on now, people. One of the things about my mentorship is this. I am very, very explicit about telling people to be authentic. Don't go on Instagram and claim to be multi-millionaires and billionaires and trillionaires and go-girls. Some of you will catch that tomorrow, right? Be honest. Be authentic. People like people that are real. Don't lie to people. Don't be fake. You got to be honest to people. And people will watch you more than just listening, right? And the thing is about successful people as well, when it comes to building a team, people want to work with people who get results. Yes or yes, right? You want to be around people that get results. You want to be around people that are performing. Everyone wants to be around people that perform, right? So you have to become a performer. You've got to become an expert in your field because people are watching. I'll tell you this, I've been posting on my social media for the past 6 years consistently. And from 6 years ago, there's people that's been watching. I had a lady come to me, she said, Nikki, I've been watching you for 6 years. I'm like, and you've just reached out now. I've been watching for 6 years. People are, sometimes you don't even know people are watching, but they're seeing your results. They're seeing what you've been doing. They're seeing your stuff. And they're like, your consistency is going to be attractive to successful people. So you've got to become consistent. You've got to become resilient. You've got to become solid mind, consistent in your mindset. One of the worst things you can be is indecisive and all over the place. 1 minute you're up, next minute you're down. 1 minute you're confident, next minute you're down. 1 minute you're posting, next minute you're quiet. 1 minute you're saying you're this, next minute you're saying, you've got to be consistent. You've got to know who you are. Here's the next one, number 4. Manage the ability to scale. Now, this is a big one, right? This is a big one. And we spoke about this, those of you that was at the event on Saturday, we spoke about the cash flow quadrant. And how the left-hand side of money is on your own efforts. The right-hand side of money is systems and employees, right? And so understanding scaling is important. If everything is based on you, there's no way you can scale because you will run out of time. I don't know about you, but I'm creating systems. I want to have, someone says, what's number 4? Master the ability to scale. That is number 4. Master the ability to scale, right? Scale your business. Understand scaling. Even at home, I'm scaling. I ain't washing up. I'm not doing the hoovering. There's 5 people in here. I ain't doing all that, right? You got master. Some of you are like, oh, I'm so busy. I've got the kids. You got a whole 13, 15-year-old sitting down doing nothing. Teach them to do some stuff. You got to learn to scale. You can't have one person doing everything. There's got to be a way that you scale in all areas of your life so everything's not dependent on you. I made it sure in my house, if daddy's not here, and let's say mommy's sick, are you guys going to eat? My 7-year-old knows how to find a way around the kitchen. My 13-year-old knows how to cook. And right now, my 5-year-old is following right behind them, right? And for those of you that see my video, we're not talking about risotto either, like proper food. Yeah? So you will learn to scale. You have a business and you have, you have teams, especially those of you in network marketing. How many of yous can you duplicate? How many people doing the same thing? How many people are you going to have, doing what you're doing? How many people are you going to have selling in your business? How many people you're going to have duplicating what you're doing? Because one person's efforts is nothing compared to 7, 8, 9 people doing the same thing. You have to learn how to scale. You've got to organize scaling. A lot of people doing a little is so much better than one person doing a lot. You want a lot of people doing a little, right? I give you such a simple example. When I'm emptying out the washing machine, I've got the girls coming up and down the stairs and my son. I'm like, hey, you put that in one room, you put in that. I am not lugging all them stuff upstairs. I'm scaling. I've got 3 of them doing different parts. A lot of people doing a little more than one person doing a lot. That's why some of you are burnt out. Also, cleaners are £10 an hour, £15 at that. It's not expensive. Right? It's not expensive. £15 an hour for a cleaner, £30 a week to help you take some time away from you hoovering, cooking, cleaning, washing. Oh, but the paradigm said that if I don't do it, I'm worthless. The paradigm said if I don't do it, I'm not a good mom. Who taught you that? Prioritization is so important if you want to be successful. It doesn't have to be all you. So you got to learn to scale. Don't put everything on you. Sometimes I see people and it's always about them. You got to make sure that the system works with or without you. And the fifth one is power plays. Power plays is serious. You got to learn how to have a power play. This is leveraging, okay? Leveraging stories, leveraging testimonies, leveraging, like the most successful people I know have learned to tell their story or tell a story. Think about it. Every successful person that we can think of, they've learned to tell a story. I don't know one successful person that hasn't learned to tell a story. You have to leverage stories. What do you mean, Nikki? When you learn to share a story, people, let me tell you this, facts tell, stories sell. Going back to the example from the beginning where we were talking about, you know, growing up and being told that you can be seen and not heard. There was no storytelling there. There was no explaining why we have to do things. Last week, the whole mindset call last week, I shared a story with you all. I told you where I'm coming from. I showed you my heart. I said, listen, I've not had it easy, but I've never made excuses. I've never made an excuse why I can't get up and rebuild. I've never made an excuse. I don't allow people to push me in corners that I don't want to be in. I don't allow my own words or my own thoughts to do stuff like that. But I've learned there was a time when I used to seek other people's validation. I used to need people to tell me, well done, Nikki. I used to need people to say, yeah, that's a good idea. I used to need people to tell me like, yeah, Nick, you're part of the cool crew. But I realized all that was people pleasing. It never got me anywhere. It just got me in a position where I was just giving. Sometimes giving more money than I should have just because I don't want to start a fight or I want them to like me. Or sometimes, you know, not expressing my opinion because I don't want to be an outcast or I just agree to things that I don't even agree with. And I realized I wasn't being myself and deep down I was unhappy. And I had to make a decision that I want to live authentic. I don't want to be unhappy anymore. I actually want real joy. I want real happiness. And I do want more money. And I do want a relationship. And I do want to be a wife. I had to be honest to myself about what I wanted because I was pretending that I was happy when I wasn't. And I was looking online on Instagram and I was seeing all these so-called coaches and they looked so much happier than I was. And I was comparing myself to other people. And I was asking myself, what was wrong with me? I didn't feel pretty. I felt ugly. I felt like I was a fraud. I felt like I was online successful, but behind the doors crying at night every day on my pillow. And then I found a mentor. I found a physical representation of somebody that I said, I want the success that they have. And so I had to humble myself and say, okay, less of me and let me follow what this person is doing. Let me just say, okay, I need to stop listening to me. I'm broke. And if I keep listening to this broke person, I'm going to stay in this situation that I'm in. And so if I don't like where I am, and I am the one that got me where I am, I need to stop listening to me. So Nikki, humble yourself. Stop listening to yourself no matter how hard it is. Get out your comfort zone, Nikki, and submit to mentorship. And you know what I did? I rang my mentor and I said, tell me what to do. And he told me and I freaked out. He said, Nikki, you got to get into homes. You got to start talking. You got to start showing your opportunity. You got to start going face to face. You got to start doing more. And I was nervous. But I said, this person has the results that I want. So I've got to get into position to do what he says because I know he only wants the best for me. I know he's got the results, so he knows the route to go. And so he said, Nikki, someone needs to hear your story. But if you don't go out and share it, if you don't go out and tell your story, because your story is the power play, Nikki. Your story is the power play. And here's the big thing that Ivan Tapia said. He said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. He called it framing. Framing, how you frame things. So someone says to you, oh, well, you've just started the business. How much money have you made? You just started the business. What's your results? And he said, well, I haven't done anything yet. No, you don't say that. So listen, right now I've written out a plan. In the next 90 days, I'm going to be making between 10 and 15,000 a month based on the plan. I've sat down with my mentor and I've sat down and we've figured out a plan. And this is what I'm going to do over the next 90 days. Now, look, I ain't really got no time. So I just wanted to find out if you were going to, run it out with me, or whether you were like, I know you're a boss, but I know you ain't like some of them negative people, but I wanted to know if you wanted to run it out with me, because this is what's going to happen in the next 90 days. I will be making around 10 to 15,000 a month using this. Very different to someone saying, oh, I've just started, I haven't done anything. Who are you going to sign up with? Who are you going to buy from? The person that says, oh, I haven't done anything, I've just signed up, I've got no results? Or the person that says, listen, I've got a plan. The next 90 days, those that are running with me, this is the goal. Tell me, person one or person two? Now, the question is which one are you? Are you somebody that I would sign up with? Are you somebody that I would follow? Would I buy your products and services? Would I join you on a vision? Would I join? Because these are the power plays. These are power plays. Successful people speak future. Unsuccessful people speak the past, speak now. And so Ivan Tapia, multi-millionaire, 44 leveraged business that he doesn't work in, that receives income coming in, said these 5 tips of mastering yourself is what brings success. How many of us right now are ready to go to the next level? How many of us, because I have a special announcement to give you guys, I'm super excited about this. How many of you are ready to go to the next level? How many of you know that, yeah, okay, I've got to do some mastering, but it's got to come within first. I've got to boss up. I've got to posture up. I've got to manage my emotions. I've got to make sure I'm listening to the right words. I've got to make sure that I'm hearing the right things. I've got to make sure that I'm not allowing comparison or people to get me. I've got to make sure that I'm mastering the ability to reason and reason with the right people, reason with myself. I've got to master the art of building the right team, becoming the right person, that the right team will be attracted to me because I understand that I attract who I am. Mercy. So you say, well, the people that keep coming to me are broke. You attracted them. All right, let me hit one of you single ladies on the call. You keep attracting men that don't want to commit. You keep attracting men that don't want to put a ring on it. You keep attracting men that are going to cheat on you. You attracted him. Talk to the men on the call. You dating women that you say ain't really wifey material. You attracted them. Oh, because it's always remember what we said before? It's the mirror versus the window approach. So the window is pointing outside, saying everybody else is full. The mirror is looking in the inside, saying, hold up now. What's the part I played in that? Why do I keep attracting that? My posture's too low. You're speaking low numbers. You speak low numbers to me, I'm turned off. I'm turned off when you speak low numbers to me. But it's going to attract somebody. Someone's looking at discount because you sell yourself cheap. So you gotta understand, if you want to master the right team, you have to be the right person because you're only going to attract who you are. And then you master the ability to scale, duplication. That's going to lead to massive momentum, right? And then leverage them stories and bring in them power plays. Maybe a power play in your business, you can frame how you frame things, right? You could do a sale. You could do a, I don't know, buy one, get one half price. That's framing, right? You could do a special. That's framing. So figure out a way to command your territory, command your business, command what it is that you're doing so you can go out and be that person that you're supposed to be. Guys, who's ready to master yourself? Go ahead and put 777s in the chat.